Welcome to PintheQ Productions. If you are interested in the culture of the fire service and keeping tradition alive, you have come to the right place. Now sit back and relax with your brothers and sisters and enjoy the show. Be sure to like and subscribe on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. For more information on PintheQ Productions, visit www.pintheq.com.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, you're a firefighter in Arizona.
That's right.
Correct. So, a little different from Jersey right now. What'd you say it was today? What's the temperature there?
Right now, it's in the low 80s. Yesterday, it was 98, and that's like an all-time record for like November 5th for it to be like 98. It's crazy.
Awesome. So, episode 47 with Firefighter Fenton, we're going to get into some cool things right out of the gate. Bro, it's funny to see you without the mustache, right? Because what's the name of this episode is The Man Behind the Mustache.
Right.
So, what I think it's important for people to understand is you're you. You're an actual firefighter, you know, you're a family man, a firefighter, and you do a lot of cool things outside of Firefighter Fenton, which is obviously gained some serious popularity.
Yeah.
Before we get into anything else, bro, tell me how this all kind of started for you. Like, how did your starting the fire service begin?
In the fire service, actually, I was, believe it or not, so I come from a family of cops. My dad was a cop. Two of his brothers were cops. They're the fourth brother, he worked for a gas company. So everybody was cops. I was actually gung-ho to be a police officer. And I was going on ride-alongs all the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be a cop. I'm going to follow my dad's footsteps. And then, you know, towards the end of his career, kind of had some, you know, just, I don't want to be downer, but it kind of had some sad things happen. One of his best friend was shot and killed. One of his officers, he was a sergeant. One of his officers was ambushed and shot and killed. And so it was pretty rough on him. Right. I was my senior year in high school when that happened. And so he was like, you know what, I'm not going to your funeral. I got some buddies on the fire department. I grew up with these guys. I hang out at their stations when I'm on duty. You need to come on a ride along with them. So I went on a ride along. I went to, it was a Phoenix Fire Station 24 and went on a ride along, and the captain, I rode on the ladder 24, and the captain there was a good friend of my dad's. He was like, hey man, come do a 24-hour ride along. I was like, really? I can do that? So he's
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah. So, yeah, I went on a 24-hour ride along, and at like 2:30 in the morning, we got popped on a house fire. Took off. I remember running out to the truck and jumping on with the guys, and we go screaming down the road. It was right behind the fire station, real close. So we get there right at the same time. It was a dual company station, so we get there same time as the engine guys. And I just remember as we get there, it spreads to the neighboring house. Well, now it's like a dual house fire. And I remember watching the guy pull the line, you know, kick the front door and go in. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm definitely doing this. It was kind of like the ultimate bait and switch, though, because like that doesn't happen every shift all the time, you know, but it was awesome. And so I was just like, okay, I need to figure out what I need to do to be a firefighter. And I started doing ride-alongs, started talking to everybody I could, started testing, and then that's kind of how it happened.
That's so awesome, bro. And how old were you when that happened?
So I was 17 on that ride-along.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny because this whole time you want to be a cop, and then just like that, a flip of switch, you know, just that ride along. Would you say that ride along definitely hook, line, and sinker?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I started going on multiple ride alongs. I went on a lot of ride alongs with those guys, a bunch of other cities, just kind of getting a feel for all of it, see how everybody did. And I learned pretty quickly that it really didn't matter what city it was, what the back of the shirt said. It was pretty much the same job. And I also learned really quick, and I've definitely solidified that through my career, that it doesn't matter where you're at, where you're at in the world, in the country, this job attracts the same kind of people. You know what I mean?
my God.
You can identify that guy on every department.
100%, bro. 100%.
Yeah.
So walk me through this, bro. So you go to, obviously you went to a fire academy. Tell me what that was like. So when you finally got your ticket punched and you're going to the academy, explain that to me.
So my department, at the time, it was a lot smaller than it is now. So we had, so I did like the Firefighter 1 and 2 Academy. And then when I got hired here, I was in a large group. There was 12 of us, and they didn't have the budget to send us through the large regional academy that's locally. So we just kind of did kind of on the job training. So I didn't do the full-time academy. I did a 1 and 2 academy, but a full-time, Monday through Friday, 12-week traditional academy that we do here in the Valley. I didn't get to experience that just because, like I said, when I got hired with my department, it was a lot smaller.
Right.
And that was almost 17 years ago, which is crazy to say. But
it's crazy how fast it flies by, right?
It is. But, my 1 and 2 academy, it was great as far as, building bonds and friendships with people that I still talk to today, and it's just crazy. It's funny to like look back and even talk to some of them about the Firefighter Fenton thing. They're like, I'd have never in a million years thought that you would be this guy. And I'm like, me too.
Yeah,
I always like making people laugh, but I never would have seen where it came.
Well, that's obvious. I mean, you make a lot of people laugh, bro, every day. So you graduate your academy, your setup. Walk me through your experience for that first company you were at, your first station. Explain that to me. Like, what was it like?
So I was, it was, like I said, there was 12 other guys. I was the youngest. I was 21 years old. I think the next youngest was like 28 or something like that. And then the oldest, I think, was like 49. So I was the youngest, so I was brand freaking new to life. Basically, I had zero life experience. I was living at home. I mean, dude, I made all the mistakes. I didn't know how to freaking cook. Right. I put the wrong soap in the dishwasher and, like, no joke, filled the freaking kitchen up with bubbles. I had a nickname Suds for a while. That's awesome. There's like a picture of me just holding a mop with just bubbles everywhere. I was just like, oh my gosh. And so, yeah, I wasn't doing myself any favors. But it was good. I was very quiet my first year. My dad always told me, keep an open mind and a closed mouth. So I was very quiet. I absorbed everything. I took a lot of mental notes because, there's guys that treated me like crap, and I was just like, okay, that's fine. I won't always be on probation. And I'll just remember this, So, I just took it all in, man. And I did the booter deal, and everybody said, play the game. I did it. I went through everything, earned my way, earned the guys' respect. And, and I definitely grew up. It forced me to grow up. I remember having a senior firefighter sit me down, and he's like, everybody loves you. We love you. But it's clear as day that, like, you still live at home. Because, like, there's stuff that goes on around here, and it's like, he's like, what happens when you're at home? He's like, you don't pick up your dishes from the night before or whatever. What happens? He's like, your mom does it, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, your mom ain't here. He's like, and you're really the mom. You're going to pick up the crap that people leave behind. So,
Bro, one of the videos you put out recently was, the you video. Who's taking out the garbage? You, bro, I'm laughing so hard because and I think that's what's so awesome about what you're doing, honestly, is that every firefighter can relate to your videos, man, because it happens in every station, whether you're in Arizona, New Jersey, New Mexico. It doesn't matter where you're at, bro. It's the same cats, man. Same circus, different clowns.
That is exactly it.
It's so funny, man.
Yeah.
So now that you got some time on, do you find yourself in a mentor role more now that you got some time on?
Yeah, I really enjoy talking to new guys, just trying to, help them with just, I guess, earning their way and learning and trying to like bestow on them the things that I learned the hard way. When I see guys, I'm like, let's, trying to come alongside them. Obviously everybody's got to kind of learn on their own, but it's almost like a parent. You want to make sure that your kids do things the right way, but sometimes they got to learn things the hard way. But I really enjoy, I really enjoy kind of just sharing some of the wisdom that I've learned just over the years of both not only how to do things on the job, but like just life in general. And like, I always talk about my big thing is like margin, creating margins in your life and, especially the guys who are married, like remembering like you're married to your wife, not the job, you know what I mean? And like the job is great. Love it. I would never take anything away from it. I absolutely am very proud to be a firefighter. But I'm more proud to be a husband and a father, you know what I mean? So it's all those things that you are outside of the fire service that are really important because, God forbid something happens and this job gets taken away. Those are the things that you're left with. And so you don't want to wrap up your identity 100%, just the job. It's a great job, but you know what I mean? We're so much more than just firefighters.
Absolutely. And that's a really good lesson. And I'm glad you brought that up because I think we need to emphasize that more in the fire service because, listen, learning the craft, loving the craft, it's awesome. And there's no job like it in the world. I love what I do.
Definitely.
We have to have something outside the fire service, like the show for me is something outside the fire service, which is kind of weird because it's a fire service, but it's different, it's a different.
Yeah, I get it.
My release, my escape, for you, clearly Firefighter Fenton, is your release. It's your way of making fun and having fun and your release away. Would you say that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely, I'm like a creative type. So it's my art, if you will. I play guitar and I do music. And so there's a lot of other things. That's actually how my wife and I met. And then video just for me is something that I've always had a passion for. And so, yeah, it's what I'm passionate about. And I like to create, I like to come up with an idea, create it, put it out there. And, every time I put a video out there, I was telling my wife, I'm like, gosh, it doesn't matter how many times I put a video out there. It's always kind of scary because you're putting yourself out there. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I think this is funny. And I put it out there and sometimes they hit and sometimes I miss. I just have to remember it. But to me, just stay true to myself is I think they're all funny. So if people don't like it, I thought it was funny.
Listen, man, I'm not just saying this because I'm on a show with you. Like, they are all funny. All right. I laugh every time I laugh. I enjoy it. So
Thank you.
You talk about your family, and I want to dive right into that. What I've seen about you so far that it's very obvious to me that your family to you is everything.
Oh yeah,
you're very big on your family, and tell me a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so I'm married. My wife's name is Stephanie. We've been married for 10 years. This March will be 11 years. We have 4 kids. They are all the ages 6 and under, so it's kind of crazy. We have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and 1-year-old. We are donezo. Things have been taken care of, but no more. But they're great, and it's a lot of fun. It's very busy at the Fenton household.
I bet.
But it's fun, and that's been a challenge in itself, to just continue doing these things that I enjoy doing as far as the video and stuff like that. But anybody who's kind of paying attention, especially over the years and seeing my family grow and stuff, I would love to be able to put out new content every single day and every single week. But sometimes I go through dry spells where just stuff isn't coming out because I have a family. I have responsibilities, and I need to make sure that they take priority over that. So
one of the things I liked about you putting out stuff is you'll often put things out with your family. Like, I remember one video, your kids were outside and there was a garbage truck just dumping the garbage, It's like things like that are cool because you invite people into your life too. You're inviting people into your world.
Right. Yeah. The my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed or TikTok or whatever you're on, the feed part for me that's where you're really going to see the just that person, that like character, the Firefighter Fenton character, that persona. And I've kind of like, it's kind of weird because it's funny because I feel like I don't ever address the mustache. So I have, I mean, obviously I don't have it right now. So there is a huge chunk of my following that is like, dude, how do you get such a majestic mustache? And I was like, dude, it's crazy, bro. I wish.
Yeah. Well, clearly, I started my my Movember. This is I do it November because I suck at this, so I do November and I look ridiculous, but whatever. You can pull it off though, bro. Your mustache.
So,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so like just that, and then my stories are where you're gonna get. Like I said, you have that persona on the feed of the Firefighter Fenton. Sorry, I'm getting all crazy in my hands. But the story is where you'll see me as the person. That's where you see little clips of my family, little snippets, things like that. I try to have some, I try to keep some privacy for sure and things like that because there's a lot of freaking weirdos out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But, sadly, you're right. They're out there, believe me. Yeah. So one of my followers wanted to know, and I promised I'd ask, do you blow dry that? You have to keep it blow dried to keep it fresh.
It's just a little comb, a little TLC.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe you can give me some, advice for mine. I can get mine looking like fancy like yours.
Oh,
so when it started for you in 2010, I mean, this was like a joke, right? I mean, you never expected this. Tell me what this is like for you. How are you dealing with all this?
Yeah, like you said, it started back in 2010. My department does an annual banquet, and it's kind of an awards thing. It's a charity fundraiser, so it's a good time for everybody to get together, hang out, and we were doing it, and it always was kind of like just boring. It was a fun night, but it was kind of boring. You have speaker, okay, next person's gonna come up. All right, so and so won this award. Okay, now we're gonna have dinner, and it was just like, ugh. And so we were just like talking about it on the charities board and stuff, and maybe we need to do some kind of comedic relief. Let's do something. So I was like, well, I love making people laugh. I love music. I'll try and come up with something. And then literally was coming back from a call with my partner. At the time I was on a rescue. So like here in Arizona, most of the rescues have firefighters on them. There is some private companies and those don't have firefighters. Those are like EMTs and paramedics. But in Arizona, most of the almost all the fire-based EMS systems have firefighters on it. So we were coming back from a call and it was a knee pain. It was totally like, it was,
yeah.
Early in the morning, lady's knee's been hurting for days.
Yeah.
And then
just call now.
yeah, exactly. And then for whatever reason, now is the time to call. And so, whatever, we're coming back and that Lady Annabelle song comes on the radio and it's 1:15, and I just start saying, calling 911 because my knee hurts now. Me and my partner, Dave, we just started dying laughing. And I was like, maybe I could turn that into a whole song and make a video. Right. So we did that, put it out there. Literally, I threw it up on YouTube just so the people who were on shift that night.
Right. So that's important to understand that this was not like you weren't looking for this. This Firefighter Fenton thing wasn't like something you dreamed of, right?
It wasn't a thing. Yeah. My YouTube was literally like my name at the time, I think it was just my name. Right. And I had videos of just random stuff and I threw this video up there. I think my most viewed video before that had maybe 100 views, maybe. And I think I had like 10 subscribers and I knew every one of them personally. So I was like, so I threw this video up there. And I just remember when they played it at the banquet, the place erupted. And I was looking at my wife and we were just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I've never heard like laughter like this. And it was just like, oh my goodness. And I was actually kind of nervous because I had watched that video so many times editing that I was like, I don't know if this is funny anymore. Like, I'm not sure if this is funny. I've seen this so many times. This might not be funny. Whatever, threw it out there, and it just went crazy. And then the next morning, it was well on its way to 1 million views. And I was like, holy cow, what happened? And I had thousands of emails from YouTube, because at the time I would get an email for every subscriber. And I was like, holy crap, my YouTube channel is blowing up.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
So it was cool. It was a crazy wave to ride when it happened.
I'll give you guys a call. It's a quarter after 1. Call the 911 'cause my knee hurts now. And I bet she didn't fall. She's got no complaints at all. Just her knee hurts now. And I don't think I can drive myself, 'cause my knee hurts now. I just need you now.
So when this happened, were you and your wife talking? You're like, maybe I'm onto something here. Is that kind of how it started?
You know what? Not really. Like, to be honest, I kind of took for granted the momentum that I had, and I didn't capitalize on it. I could have totally capitalized. I feel like I could have grown the platform very, very quickly at the time, because it was blowing up. Because there was some drama around that first video. Like, it was up, and then I had to take it down, and it was up, and I had to take it down. And some of that was coming from labor and other things within the department. Never got in trouble. Everybody always says, oh, I heard you got in trouble. Oh, I heard that guy got fired. Never got in trouble. My fire chief loved it. I've always had the support of my fire department, so it's been really great. But there was a social media policy that came out because of that. But it wasn't bad. It was just, because nobody knew it was going to blow up like that. Nobody knew it was going to blow up like that.
You were expecting guys from your work to watch it. You weren't expecting millions of people to watch it.
Exactly. And so like in that the first version of that video, you could see where I worked and everything like that. It's since been edited out. So it kind of blew up, and it was like, oh wow, this has really turned into something. So I made that video, had a lot of fun, got recognized all the time, which was kind of crazy for me. It was really cool.
Right.
And so I was like, man, and so then I kind of started feeling that pressure of like, how am I going to top this? I had to do another one. And so I literally was only making one video a year for like 7 years after that. Like literally I made just one video a year. That's all it was. I made a Facebook page. I made an Instagram. I was just kind of, they were not, I think my Instagram, had like 300 followers, my Facebook page. It took me like years and years to get it up to like 5,000 people on there, which was awesome. But it was a lot of work, but I wasn't posting regularly. And it took me a long time to really kind of learn social media. And it wasn't until literally like a couple of years ago that so Fireman 323, Scott reached out to me and just said, hey man, I'm a huge fan of your stuff all the way back since my knee hurts now. He's like, I think you're missing the boat on this, dude. I think you should really, sink your heels in and see what you can come up and try and post stuff regularly. I think you would be really, really great. And I was like, wow, man, I appreciate that. And this is coming from a guy, like I literally had like 300 followers and he's got like over 50K at the time. And I'm like, holy cow. So I'm like, all right. So, I think it was like 2018. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving of 2018. I was talking to my wife and I said, you know what, for the month of December, I'm going to post one piece of content a day. Every day for the 30 days. Just want to see what happens. And I went from like 300 to like 3,300 in 30 days. And I was like, incredible. Whoa. Yeah. And it just kind of took off from there. So.
And what's cool is, you're not doing this for the money, man. You're doing it because you enjoy it. It's something funny.
Yeah. It's absolutely right.
What I love about it is, like I said earlier, it's just like, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're in the firehouse, someone's experienced something you're poking fun at.
Right.
I'll give you a quick example. One of the videos that you posted was trying to get the truck and pump. Now, Now, in the morning when we do our truck checks, we get our guys together. We're starting our day before we have breakfast. We do exactly that. We check the truck out, and then every morning I hear the chauffeur. It's the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And you hear it grinding, and he's like, "It's not me. I'm not. It's not. I'm
Yeah.
not."
Oh, yeah.
So when you posted that, I was dying. It was funny. Like, we started immediately. Everyone that I work with that saw it was tagging the same chauffeur. Like, because this is you. It's just so awesome. It makes me laugh so hard because it's like real life stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is that I've learned is if I see something and I find it funny, I instantly write it down. Or if I see somebody complaining about something, I'll write it down because I feel like I've kind of identified that there is like a fine line between like when somebody's pissed,
right,
and everybody else thinks it's funny. So if I can like recreate that, it's going to be funny. Like, cause it's always, if there was a way that you could pull like when you're just in a fit of rage about just something where you're upset about something, if you were able to pull yourself out of that scenario and look at it from like another camera angle, you would laugh like, oh my gosh, I'm being ridiculous. And so I love being able to recreate those moments. And I just will write that down. Yeah. It's like, if I see somebody doing something weird too, I'll write that down. Cause I'm like, we're all human beings. We are creatures of habit. There's no way that's the only person in the world doing that. And I'll make that. And people are always like, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so,
That's what's awesome about your show, man, and about what you do, because it's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Everything you put out, it's like, yeah, I know someone like that. I've seen that. I've heard that. It's great. Out of all these videos, bro, which one would you say is one of your favorites?
Oh, dude.
I'll tell you what. Tell me your favorite, and I'll tell you my favorite of yours.
Okay. I think the one that I can watch over and over that it's just weird because I'm watching myself, but it makes me laugh is they said caller states, no lights and sirens.
That's my favorite one, bro.
Oh, dude.
That's my favorite. When you first put that out, when I tell you I was belly laughing, I felt like I just got done doing abs. I was laughing so hard because you get those calls, and the dispatcher's like, oh, just so you know, the caller doesn't want any lights and sirens. You're like, oh, really? Because, I'm up in the middle of the morning. I'm coming. They're going to know I'm coming.
Hey, caller states, no lights and sirens, please.
Oh, he does he?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They don't want to be embarrassed. Oh, okay. Well, there must not be an emergency if you're worried about embarrassment.
How, did you have to laugh a million times doing that video? You must have cracked up doing it.
Oh, well, what was funny was, so that was my captain in the captain seat at the time. I was like, hey, I was like, you want to just do it? And he's like, hey, caller states, no lights and sirens, please. And I'm like, oh, he does he? And it was funny because when I filmed that, I was like, nobody can be in the cab. You got to get out. It's got to just be me in here because I'll never be able to get it down. And I had to do it like 3 or 4 times, just the yelling. And it was hard because they're all outside the truck looking through, just watching me just scream. And they're dying laughing. They're filming me on their phones like, look at this clown. And it was just funny.
Which actually leads me to my next question. And that is, explain to me a little bit about that dynamic of the guys you work with. I mean, because they're with you, like literally with you during this journey. So they've seen you start from nothing to where you are now. What is it like for them?
I think what's been so cool about all this is everybody's been very supportive. I don't really have any like naysayers on my department specifically. There's some people that I think they probably wouldn't say it to my face, but but whatever. But for the most part, everybody's been very, very supportive, and I think it's because I've always tried to be respectful, of the guys and not have my stuff interfere with anything. I don't do a ton of stuff like on duty. I'll do stuff like hang out off shift or come up, off shift to make it look like stuff. But I love to have people involved with it too,
Absolutely,
and like, so I brought them along, and I think it's given guys a big sense of pride for the department. It's given me a huge sense of pride for the department because it really put our department on the map. And a lot of guys are like, so like when we go out on, whether it's fire calls, just when we respond to our day-to-day stuff, or if like I'm part of our Wildland team too. When we deploy on Wildland or when they deploy on Wildland, it's so crazy. Guys are like, dude, I was at fire camp in Oregon, and the guy saw my shirt and was like, oh, you work there? Do you know that guy? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh. And it's that blows my mind to me.
That's cool.
But it's so cool because guys are like, it's just cool because they were known.
Right.
And it's been a really fun journey, and the guys have all been supportive, and they all enjoy being part of the videos. And like I said, I just try to be respectful and just keep it lighthearted, keep it clean. I think a lot of people in general love that too, is that you can watch it with your family and not have to worry about what's going to come out of my mouth or what they're going to see. Because
it's all clean fun.
My kids watch it too. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It must be fun that your kids will watch it. They must laugh at the mustache, right?
Oh yeah, they love it. They're always like, Daddy, did you make a new video? I want to watch it. And they think it's so, because I make videos and I send them to my wife, and I'm like, is this funny?
That's cool.
And she's just like, half the time she's like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, you married me, so I'm just saying, but the kids will always watch it with her, and so. Yeah.
That's good. Now, what's in the future for Firefighter Fenton?
Yeah, I definitely plan on continuing doing it. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen or necessarily how far it's gonna go. But yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the time, the challenge of coming up with stuff creatively, and so yeah, I have some aspirations of some things that I really want to do, and so I would like to kind of expand the Firefighter Fenton character, and into I don't know where I want to go, but I'm just really enjoying it right now.
I love the collaboration with Jason. That was hysterical with the guy with the scooter.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
yeah.
That was so funny, man. The way you guys orchestrated that was it was perfect.
Yeah, bro, if you're not here in like 10 minutes, I'm leaving without you, all right?
Bro, relax, man. I'm walking out the door and jumping on the scooter. This thing's super fast, dude.
10 minutes later. What does that sound? Check the cameras. Yeah, hi, 911. You're never gonna believe this.
So when you and Jason made that video with the guy in the scooter, which by the way was hysterical.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I saw that video and I was just like, oh my gosh, just that guy just grinding across that metal fence.
He aced that fence, man.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And I was dying laughing, and my plan was to when I saw that video, it was not to collaborate at first. Right. I saw it, and my plan was to just pretend like I was coming out of my house. I'm like, what does that sound like? Let me check my security cameras, and like, oh my gosh, I was gonna have something else. And I sent the video to Jason. I said, here's the next video I'm gonna make a video on, and he was like, holy crap, bro. And then he said something about the guy looking like him or whatever, and I was like, oh dude, we could collaborate on this one. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I'll call you, I'm like, all I need for you to do is just send me a video, like, dude, I'm walking out the door right now, I'll be there, whatever, and so we made it look like it was him racing over to my house.
Well, it was done perfectly. I was dying. It was so funny. There's so many like that are just hysterical. And the collaboration things are awesome, especially with Instagram, because you've become such a familiar face, and as has Jason. So it's cool to see you guys together doing a collaboration. I think a lot of people enjoy those.
Yeah, it's fun to work together. It's cool to be able to kind of we we were supposed to be at FDIC, and of course COVID shut that down. So that was really unfortunate, because I was really excited about that. We were both excited to like actually meet in person,
right?
And then be able to just, you know, spend like, you know, almost a week together, just doing our thing, and be able to create content together and just have fun. And of course, yeah, the COVID shut the world down. So, but
Yes, it did.
So, yeah, but yeah, we definitely enjoy collaborating.
That's fun. It's a lot of fun for us as viewers to watch that too, because, you know, you both are funny as hell. So together, it's even funnier, you know, which it's good time.
Yeah.
One of the other things people don't know about you, and you did allude to it earlier, is that you're also a wildland firefighter in Arizona, which, you know, if anybody's paying attention right now out there, you guys are getting some wicked fires.
Yeah, this year it was the driest monsoon, I think, on record ever. So it just, you know, obviously hot, dry doesn't mix. And we had crazy fuel loading this year. So we've had some wetter winters, which has caused a lot of new growth. And it just they projected like 600% as far as vegetation in some areas, above average. And we got hammered this year for sure. And it's going to be, and especially, so we got no rain. So we're still, I mean, it's November. I mean, last week we had a 150 acre fire that,
wow,
you know, we're dropping tankers on it, and it's like, what are we doing? You know, it's almost Halloween. Like, you know, like what is happening right now? And because typically I don't know if you're familiar at all with Wildland at all, but especially sorry, go ahead.
I'm not.
Okay. So like, especially, so what they'll do is like in the Southwest, you'll have in the earlier, as the season starts up, we'll have, you know, crews from, you'll have shot crews and hand crews and different engines from the Forest Service and BLM from Montana, Oregon, Washington, the Northwest, all that kind of stuff, all the different regions or whatever will come to the Southwest. And just because our seasons are so crazy because it's so hot and it's so dry. And then our monsoon will hit. Our monsoon will hit July, August. And when our monsoon hits, it kills our wildland season. And then that's when we start sending our resources. So all the Arizona resources, and like my department specifically, that's when our wildland team will get deployed to other states. We've gone as far, we've sent guys to Alaska.
Wow.
We've sent guys to, I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago on Thanksgiving, they were they were in North Carolina. So go all over. I've been to California. Like I was in Napa in 2017 when Napa was burning, and it's doing the same thing again this year.
Right.
But so it's kind of like the resources. There's a lot of help, and so it gets shared and spread out a lot. Well, and a lot of that didn't really happen. Obviously, COVID kind of threw a wrench in the mix, so some places weren't sending people. But also because we've had a lack of rain, like my department and a lot of local departments are like, we're not sending anybody out because we need our resources here to protect us. Right. And, like I said, we just had, 150 acre fire ripping through the desert, threatening, we have this historic, it's like a pioneer area it's like this village that was, when the settlers came in the 1800s, and this fire is like breathing down there. And so we're trying to protect that. And it's like, it's Halloween basically. It was like 2 or 3 days before Halloween, and we're like, what is happening? Because this never happens. But we were just talking about that today when I came in to shift. Everybody's throwing their wildland gear on the truck, and I'm like, I don't think that we're gonna be. Sorry,
it's okay.
I don't think that we're gonna be having. Because when the season ends, we just don't put our gear on the truck. You know what I mean? Right. We don't need it. But I'm like, I don't think that's going to be a thing this year. I think we're going to be keeping our wildland gear on the truck until all the way through next year.
Yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy year, man, for all kinds of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing structural protection firefighting and also wildland, which is cool because you get the best of both worlds.
Right.
Really expanded your experience level. in your department, specifically your department, is one that does both. So, unlike some other places, you do both.
Mhm.
What is that like when you have brand new firefighters coming into your department, and you saying to them, "Hey, guess what? You have to learn this, but also this."
Yeah, I think it's really an eye opener for them. I think in general, people don't, even within even the fire community, especially outside the fire community, people don't understand the difference of. I mean, they really don't understand the fire department in general, but especially in regards to Wildland.
Right. Totally different animal.
It's a different animal, and like I said, even within the fire community, like the wildland world is different. And I think with the new guys, when they come in the academy, like literally in the academy, they get a day, maybe a couple days of wildland, and that's it. And then they come out to the trucks, and we do extensive wildland training. Every member is red card certified. We go out and we do lots of training because we have our district it's over 200 square miles. So it's a large area, and we have everything from city to like wildland urban interface where you have people on property and houses built up, and this stuff is all around them. And so it's just a totally different beast. So you got to get out there. And I think what they underestimate is just how hot it is, because it's brutal here in the summer, but how fast these fires can move and how quickly they can change directions. And and people will say, "Oh, it's glorified gardening. You're just digging lines, you're doing things like that." And it's like, there's so many different tactics. There's so many different things to learn. There's so many different operations that go into fighting a wildland fire. It's not just dig and line. Dig and line plays a huge role. But you know what I mean? It's like there's different tools for different jobs. And sometimes digging line is the best way to contain a fire. And other times it's airplanes and doing fire operations, back burns, things like that, so there's so many different things. So it really, I think the guys get a big eye opener. And when they get their first real fire, and you see a fire, you hear a fire roaring, you see it coming fast, and you see how quickly it can move, it just makes them respect it, and it kind of opens their eyes like, okay, wow, I really need to pay attention on this. This isn't just like, oh yeah, and we do wildland. It's like, no, a wildfire can kill you just as easy as a house fire,
I remember the one time I was in a head fire. I'll never forget the intense heat, temperature change, the intense heat, and on top of that, the sound. It sounded like a freight train coming behind me. It was unbelievable. And that was very early on. It was like 1996, but even to this day, I remember like how much of that was like real. It's scary, in being a young kid, it was crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think these guys, they think, oh, well, because we're not wearing air packs and stuff like that, it's going to be easier, but it's not. It's just different.
Right.
It's all hard. It's just a different kind of hard. And it's hot. You're carrying packs. A lot of times you're not carrying hoses. You have a tool, you might have a bladder bag maybe, or a lot of times it's literally just a tool. If you're with a truck, you'll have, some of your brush lines and stuff like that pulled out. But for the most part, it's just down and dirty, hard work.
It's funny. I had 25 years in the fire service when I took S130, S190. And I remember taking those classes, and I was like, man, I can't believe how much goes into this. Because, from the outside looking in, and you're just, you're on a forest fire service, or you're involved in wildland, that's what you're doing. You're digging trenches, you're doing a fire line. But until you are actually engrossed in this information, it's unbelievable how much you actually have to know, especially the weather plays such a major role, and it's like so much you have to learn. It was intimidating a little bit to learn that much information.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like you said, there's weather, there's knowing the different types of fuels, there's knowing, about humidity and how that humidity affects, fire behavior and just like topography, and knowing where to align yourself in according to where a fire is burning, or being able to predict what some fire activity can have. And that, like I said, we're dealing with Mother Nature. So even highly trained, well thought out things, I mean, Mother Nature's crazy, and it can change like that. Winds can shift, things can happen, and it can. But obviously, we train and we anticipate a lot of those things a lot, so that we do our best to not put ourselves in those situations. We as well as I do. We all work in the world of crap happens, and sometimes crap does happen.
Absolutely. So, how much time do you have on? What's your total amount of time right now?
So March will be 17 years full time.
Good for you. So in that 17 years, what would you say has been so far your best experience as a firefighter?
You know what? So in 2015, I had the opportunity to go to the regional academy to be a mentor, and for me, that was hands down my greatest experience out of all the calls and all the things I've done.
Right.
It was awesome, because you get to go in there and, you've got the recruit training officers, and they're kind of like the drill sergeants, things like that, where all the recruits are afraid of, but then you get to come in there and, I had 10 years on at the time, right? No, 12 years on at the time. Anyway, and it was, it's just cool to be able to bring the 12 years of experience to the table and be able to have new guys and sit down with them, and like, they'll listen to you, and they're ready to hear everything you have to say. You had some cocky ones, but like, it's always awesome to be able to bestow some of your knowledge, some of your wisdom, some of the things that you've learned, and then have them experience it firsthand, like, oh geez, that actually worked, like, wow. And then have them like appreciate it. Right. Or just little things. Like, a really proud moment for me, and it was something that I didn't even think twice about, was, you're like the buddy, but again, at the same time, you're a buddy, but like, they can't mistake your kindness for weakness, because if they're screwing up, yes, I'm a mentor, but right. I'm also going to get on you if you're not performing, or if you're slacking off or whatever, because it's a serious job. It's a serious job that could seriously kill you,
right.
And so you got to learn, you got to know things. And the old crotchety guys that sometimes people write off, take everything they have, even if they're an a-hole, they got lots of wisdom, and Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that you can take from that. But it was just awesome. So like what I was saying was, the most proudest I had was actually at the graduation. The class speaker, one of the recruits, he told a story, and I didn't even know, like, to me, it was like I said, it was nothing like, and so in the academy, they were pulling hand lines, or we're taking plugs and pulling lines and doing all kinds of things, just doing sets and reps over and over and over. And so I'm driving the truck, I'm telling them, jump out, take the plug, whatever, and I'm pumping. And the RTOs are telling us, hey, if these guys, they were doing the loop loads.
Right.
And so it's like, if he drops his loop too fast before he's charged that line.
Yep.
And so I'm like, all right. So I'm watching them, and there's this one recruit, and he pulls the line, and as he was running, like, I can't remember what happened. Something caught, and it pulled, and so he dropped the loop, but it wasn't where it was at.
Those spaghetti.
And so it was kind of, but he saw it, and he just started sprinting. I mean, this dude was a strong dude, and he was able to pull it out, and the RTO was like, charge that line. And I'm just slowly pulling the gate, because
right.
I could see what happened. He didn't like purposefully drop it. It caught on something as he was pulling, and he thought, oh, my loop's snagged, whatever. But just even that, he was kind of like, he said the story. He's like, Firefighter Fenton did that, I realized this guy has our back. This guy is actually truly looking out for us. And he knew, and he's like, and I caught crap, the RTO came over, was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Why didn't you pull that? And I was like, I pulled the gate. And he's like, yeah.
You're like, I don't want to be soft.
Yeah, he's like, don't be soft on these kids. And I'm like, I'm not. I pulled it. He's like, yeah, okay, but it was just really cool to.
Nice.
For that, it had a big impact on him. Just something simple as that. I didn't even think twice about it. He never said anything about it at the time, but then it was impactful enough that he told that story at the graduation, and there were so many things that throughout that experience of going through the highs and lows with these guys, you know, walking them through their first skills course and things like that. And literally these dudes, half of them are in way better shape than I was. And they're ripping their gear off and they're like, I don't know if I can do this. How are you doing this? You haven't taken your gear off once. And I'm like, how many times have you done a skills course? And they're like, never. I was like, okay, well, that's most of your 90% of what you got going on right now is mental.
Absolutely.
I've done so many of these.
Yep.
I know, you know, like I've done so many of these, and I know exactly what's coming next, and you have no clue.
Right.
So
would you say that being part of that mentorship program and being asked to go to the academy with those young recruits, would you say that refreshed you as a firefighter?
Absolutely. I absolutely do. You know, it made me appreciate where I'm at in my career, and it was kind of I remember seeing the mentors in the academy and thinking like, that's awesome. It's so cool to see those guys who have so much time on and taking their time out and like giving back and being able to share things that they've learned. And I'm like, I would love to do that one day. And so for me, it was like a goal, really. I achieved a goal. And so I was able to do that. And it definitely refreshed. Yeah, for sure. Like to see these new guys and to see them so motivated and just ready to get out there and make a difference. And it definitely motivated me and refreshed me in my career. And I was really proud to do it. And it was just cool to have, 12 years on at the time and have the respect of these kids. Cause that's the thing, I don't expect them to respect me just cause I have 12 years on. Like I still was able to earn these new guys respect. And the cool thing is I still, even the guys that are, with my department that were in that academy still talk about stuff. They still, they feel more comfortable asking me questions.
Awesome.
And even with I run into other guys and, we see them at trainings or whatever it is. And it's just like, hey man, it built a solid bond and it was great. Like I said, you go to the academy, do that stuff. And then at the end of the academy, they do the vehicular rotations where we take them out and we have reserve engines and we're literally driving around all the cities in the Phoenix metro area.
That's awesome.
Like I said, there's 28 departments in our system that it's called automatic aid. And we literally just run all over all the different cities everywhere else and just jump calls. And
that's awesome. What a great experience for them. To everything.
Yeah. And they get to see firsthand, their training, and it's awesome to see. And we run everything, we're not just jumping fires, we're running everything. We're running everything from the minor fall injury who just needs a lift assist to a gunshot wound to a house fire, so they can see all of it.
That's great.
So,
that right there says everything, man. And that, like you said, it's all given back. I think it's so important in the fire service now that we give back, continue to give back. So before I let you off the hot seat, is there anything you'd like to add about the fire service? Something that means something to you?
Something that means something to me about the fire service. I think we touched on it a little bit before, but we talked about family and that was the thing that I always talked about in the mentorship is, I remember that one of the first talks I had with the recruits was like, we're so much more, or I always take the opportunity that anybody knew just to let people know, we're so much more than firefighters. I'm Brent and I'm a firefighter. But I'm Brent first, I'm Brent who happens to be a firefighter. I'm not a firefighter who happens to be Brent. And I always tell these guys, just remember, you're a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, a friend, a sister, a brother, whatever. You're all these things, and you bring all that to the fire service. And the cool thing is you get to be all that even in the fire service, because now you're coming into a second family.
Absolutely.
You get to bring all your strengths, your weaknesses, all that stuff here. We get to see it all. We get to see all the down and dirty, the highs, the lows of everything that everybody's got going on. But it's just remembering that this job is a great, guys say that this job defines me. And to me, like, I kind of cringe when I hear that.
Right.
It's a fantastic job. It's what I love to do. Very, very proud to do it. I would never want to do anything else. But like we talked about before, you know, there's things that can happen, and you can have career-ending injuries or career-ending things, and we got to have something to fall back on. And so we don't want to put all our stock into what we do, you know. And so for me, you know, I've got, you know, my Firefighter Fenton, that's like my outlet. I've got a good support system around me. I got friends, I got family, you know, I'm very involved in my church. I got faith, you know, so I rely a lot on God. So I got a lot of outlets and things that there's a lot of things that define me,
right,
outside of just being a firefighter. And so to me, I love, you know, I don't think I'm like reinventing the wheel on any of this or whatever, but I just love to remind guys of that, you know, like, you are awesome. You should definitely be the master of your craft in the fire service, for sure. But don't forget, don't neglect the other things that make you, because
there's life outside the fire service.
Absolutely. And really, I mean, we can teach anybody. We can teach anybody to do this job. We can teach anybody to pull a line, pull ceiling, you know, take a plug, whatever. We can teach anybody to do that, but to like just be a good roommate, you know, be a good human being, just, you know, be a pleasure to be around, treat others right. You know, those are the kind of things that I put more stock in personally.
Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on to my little show. It was cool to have you, especially over the years, seeing you on Instagram as Firefighter Fenton. But it was cool for me to meet you and to see what you were really about, the man behind the mustache.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to seeing even more Firefighter Fenton, which I can't wait. I can't wait for the next one. It's always like, I can't wait for the next one.
I definitely have a lot of videos in the chamber. I've got a lot of people asking me all the time, when are you going to make more music videos?
Right. Those are good.
There's definitely, I literally have 10 that are like waiting in the chamber.
Awesome.
That I just need to film. But again, we talked about, I have 4 kids, so it makes it a little bit more difficult, but they're coming. So I'm not going anywhere.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to seeing your success, and I personally wish you the best. And please say hello to the family for me, and we're looking forward to letting people know really who you are, and that's what this episode was all about. And we're looking forward to seeing even more Firefighter Fenton in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Anytime, brother. Be safe.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right, take care.